how do you guys deal with pests and diseases?
In the vegetables, we're organic, so we can't actually use synthetic pesticides. So we do a bunch of different things. Exclusion is one thing that we do, and that's basically covers that we put on the crops to protect them so insects can't get to them. They're called floating row covers, and it's like a woven fabric. So that's one thing that we do. Diverse crops. So if you have a lot of diversity in your fields, then you're going to bring in a lot more natural enemies, insects that eat other insects, and not have probably as big of a problem with pests. So just cultural practices. For grasshoppers, we keep things mowed around the edges because grasshoppers like to have tall weeds to kind of hang out in. So just by doing simple things like mowing, you can control grasshoppers. We do use a little bit of biological control in our greenhouses, using certain insects to eat other insects. Everyone knows the story of the ladybug, right? That little larva, the ladybug, eat the aphid babies. Well, we do that, but we actually don't introduce ladybugs. We just kind of depend on the wild ones. But we have introduced mites, a predator mite species that eats other mites, the two-spotted spider mite, which is a pest on things like eggplant and peppers in our greenhouses, cucumbers in our greenhouses. And we've had some pretty good success, although those little predators don't do well when it's really hot. So then you have to kind of work with the seasons to use them. But that's some examples.
Pests and weeds are a problem, and we do very little about them. We can use biological controls for bugs, but we mostly use a spray of water and a squish of the glove. You know, we put on our gloves if we have potato beetles, and we just hunt for the eggs and we squish them, or we squish the adults. We last year had a problem with Japanese beetle, and we used a pheromone lure. So it actually lures the bugs away from your crop. And they die in a kind of a container. So there's no need for any sprays of any kind.
We haven't had many problems here with insects. It seems to have been for us a byproduct of simply a byproduct of the crop rotation and diversification. There have been some problems. Alfalfa for weevil, for example, in alfalfa, and a certain kind of mite and other pathogens in the soybeans, but it has not been a big problem. What is a much bigger challenge is weed control, and that requires, any kind of effectiveness requires a lot of different things. It starts with the diversified crop rotation that we referred to. It also is facilitated by having a large number of acres in alfalfa, which gradually conveys what soil scientists refer to as an allelopathic effect on soil, which it has to do with suppressing weed growth. In addition to these things, there are a variety of mechanical things that we do. Careful tillage, certain considerations that we have to pay attention to at planting time to minimize weed growth. And then after planting, it has to do with rotary hoeing and harrowing and cultivating. And then after all that, towards the end of the summer, then there's also a fair amount of handwork.
How do you manage the animals' diseases?
We just haven't had too many that we've ever had to treat for. Once in a while we'll get a little pink eye in the cattle, and we'll have to, maybe give them some antibiotics there, but it's just a one-shot deal. It's not like continuous low-level antibiotic feeding. And the chickens, we've probably really have only ever treated chickens maybe twice in the 20-plus years that we've raised chickens, and that's like 2 groups out of, I don't know, probably had 80 to 100 groups of chickens, and we've only ever had to treat 2 of them. So yeah, it's, we really don't vaccinate for anything as far as the livestock go, and it's just more just keeping good feed in front of them, and salt and a little mineral, and away they go.
I think the stress-free environment really helps.
Mm-hmm.
We do give them a blackleg shot, which there is blackleg in the ground. Usually when we work them about 6 months of age, mm-hmm.
We
take them to the lot, and the vet comes and works the calves and gives the calves and the steers and the heifers a shot of blackleg, and then we put them back with the cows, which minimizes stress, and that helps. If there is something a matter with them, you do treat them.
Yeah.
But then you know which one it is, and they go to the sale barn and aren't in the organic part.